Why are some car engines mounted sideways, while others are placed front to back? What are the pros and cons of these two layouts, and how do they affect overall vehicle performance? Today, we're going to break down the core differences between transverse and longitudinal engine layouts. Let's start with the transverse engine layout. About 90% of family cars use a transverse engine. That's because most family cars are front-wheel drive, and the engine is installed directly above the front axle. When mounted sideways, the engine's output shaft is parallel to the drive axle, so it can send power straight to the front wheels by integrating the transmission and differential on one side of the engine. This creates a compact, unified powertrain layout. It's mechanically simple, takes up less space, reduces manufacturing costs, and improves fuel efficiency thanks to a shorter power delivery path and higher mechanical efficiency. Also, since the engine itself takes up most of the engine bay, a sideways layout makes better use of corner space to fit other components. It shortens the length of the engine bay, pushes the dashboard forward, and increases interior space, especially in compact cars. But the downsides of the transverse layout are also quite clear. While it frees up cabin space, the engine bay becomes very cramped, leaving very little room near the front wheels. Most of these setups can only fit McPherson struts, which are simple and space-saving but not ideal for performance. More advanced setups like double wishbones or multi-link suspensions, which offer better handling and lateral stiffness, are hard to fit. This limits the handling potential of cars with transverse layouts. Another issue is that the engine and transmission are both positioned on one side, which makes the left and right front half shafts unequal in length. That leads to torque imbalance, especially under high power or during cornering, causing torque steer that affects steering precision and stability. This isn't a big deal on small engines, but once horsepower goes above 300, the limitations become very obvious. Cars with transverse layouts rarely go beyond 300 horsepower. It's just not designed for that level of output. And since the engine is mounted sideways, it's really only suitable for front-wheel drive. It doesn't work well with all-wheel drive. Some urban SUVs try to make transverse AWD systems, but the rear axle only gets limited power, and there's often delay in engagement. Performance isn't much better than front-wheel drive. Some even call it fake AWD. Now let's talk about the longitudinal engine layout. This layout is made for rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive systems. The engine is mounted front to back, with the transmission directly behind it. Power is sent to the rear wheels through a drive shaft. This setup helps balance the weight between front and rear axles, making it easier to achieve a 50:50 weight distribution. Power delivery between the front and rear wheels is more balanced too, resulting in linear and controllable handling. In short, better driving dynamics. Another benefit is that a longitudinal layout creates more longitudinal space in the engine bay. While this may eat into cabin space, it leaves more room near the wheels to install higher performance suspensions, like double wishbones or multi-link setups, the go-to choice for performance cars. Since the engine's output shaft is aligned with the center of the drive axle, the left and right half shafts can be equal in length, which eliminates torque steer and allows for higher horsepower. That's why large displacement, high-performance vehicles are built on longitudinal platforms. But of course, longitudinal layouts have their own trade-offs. The engine bay is longer, which pushes the dashboard back and reduces cabin space. For rear or all-wheel drive models, the drive shaft runs down the center, taking up space under the floor, which means the interior floor is not flat. There are also a few longitudinal platforms used for front-wheel drive, although they're rare. For example, some Audi models are built on longitudinal AWD platforms, but the lower trims have the drive shaft removed. This keeps the benefits of the layout, like equal-length half shafts and 5-link front suspension, and even as front-wheel drives, they still handle better than most transverse platform cars. That said, the disadvantages of the longitudinal layout still remain: long engine bay, dashboard pushed back, and less cabin length. So, if you're choosing between a high-spec Volkswagen Passat and a base Audi A4L, and interior space is your priority, go for the Passat, which uses the MQB transverse platform. But if handling performance is more important, then the A4L with its MLB longitudinal platform is the better choice.